Hello and welcome to the penultimate lesson in this beginner series, lesson 19. I'm going to start by talking to you about how to practice on your own. But we're not going to abandon you. This is just so that you can do as much practice as possible so that you can get to that point that I talked about last time about feeling comfortable, not feeling nervous about using your newfound skill. And the only way you can find that comfortable position is to practice so that you become confident. So attached to this video, we will attach a sheet which will give you ideas on how to utilise the time that you have each day to practice, whether it be 5 minutes or whether it be an hour. Some of you may say, well, we have no time to practice at all. And in the past, I've heard students say that, students who've worked very long hours in the evenings and weekends in order to pay for their degree course. But do remember that practice doesn't have to be with a pad and with a pen or pencil. Practice can be virtual. So you can be listening to your music and writing the lyrics in your head. You can be jogging or walking. And you can write the signs, direction signs that you see as you're doing so. So virtual shorthand is a good way of practicing. When you get to the point where every time you look at a written word, you write it in your head, that's a really good sign. It means that Teeline is under your skin. But what about if you do have the odd 5 minutes? What I would suggest with 5 minutes is that you read the daily news, which you would be doing anyway, from whatever platform you choose. And from that first crucial paragraph that introduces a story or a news item, you choose the longest word and you see if you can write it in Teeline. So that will be practicing your theory. Recently, we've seen the word unprecedented an awful lot. If I had £5 for every time I've heard or read the word unprecedented, I think we'd all be very rich. So let's have a look at that word then, how we would write it. It may help you to write it in longhand first and think about the blends or the word endings or the word beginnings that are in a particular word. In unprecedented, the first thing that comes to my mind is the PR blend, and I think about the story of Preston. So this is how you could write that word unprecedented. The U indicator, then the N, then the P, lift the pen so that it says PR together, then the C and the D through it, blend in the N, the T and the D. Now there are many ways that you could have written that word and they would all have been correct. So because the PR is followed by a C, you may have decided to write that C at the side. But because I've thought one more step ahead and thought the C is followed by a D, as you know, anything that's horizontal can be written through the P. So I've chosen to write it like so. However, I like to kill that N. I don't like that N. Words that begin with vowel N and then something. You remember in I-N-S, I-N-C, I-N-T, I-N-D. We killed the N, didn't we? So we wrote words like interest with no N. We wrote words like industry with no N. Insure with no N. So we killed the N. So I'm going to get rid of that N, and in my chosen outline, I'm going to disjoin the U for un, write it just before the precedented, so PR, CD, and TD. Both are correct, but I've killed the N in that one, and it's a habit that I've got into over the years. Also, it's very difficult to join the N in words that begin with a vowel. So if you take a word like accomplished, so A, C, M, PL blend SHD. Now what about if we change that to unaccomplished? We've got a U indicator and an N to go before it. So that A at the beginning of accomplished is no longer an initial vowel that needs to be written. So if we included the N, we get an outline that looks like this. Unaccomplished. Far better if we kill the N. But if we kill the N, then in that particular word, unaccomplished, could we be certain that that U is straight down and not on an angle as the A would be? I don't think so, not if we were writing at high speed. So it makes it clearer if we disjoin the U and then write accomplished at the side of it. And that's exactly what we've done with unprecedented. We've disjoined the U, killed the N, and then put precedented at the side of it. So that's taken our 5 minutes. We've read that news article, we've picked out that long word, and we've had a go at writing it. Don't forget, you can always message us if you're not sure of how a word is written. And there is a book that you can buy called Teeline Word List. It doesn't have every word in, and there's no dictionary for Teeline because there is such a relaxed way of being able to write outlines in different ways, unlike other systems of shorthand like Pitman, where there's only one outline for every word. So because of the variety of outlines that we could use for every word, we don't call it a Teeline dictionary, we call it a word list. So if you feel better to have that at your fingertips, then you could buy that online. However, if you just message us, we will confirm whether your outline is right, or should I say not right or wrong, but written in the best possible form for speed. And also, of course, this sort of thing is so important because you've actually got an opposite meaning if you get accomplished and unaccomplished mixed up. So the longest word in that story or news article may very well be a special outline, because a lot of the special outlines are special outlines because they are words that we use a lot, but which, if they were written in full, would be long and perhaps sometimes awkward. So a word like immediately, for example, IMDI, quite a long word, but it's a special outline, and you have your special outlines list, which you should have been looking at each day throughout the course anyway. And what you can do with that, if you've got an extra 5 minutes, is to just take 3 of those special outlines and drill them. You know what we mean by drill? Immediately, immediately, immediately. This is not only reinforcing that word in your long-term memory, but it is enabling you to practice writing very, very fast and keeping your outlines controlled, and ideally not too much space between them. We don't want very long sprawling outlines with big gaps between, because if we do that, then that means that there's more times that your hand has to travel from the end of one line to the beginning of the next, and that sweep is a fraction of a second that we can't afford when we get to 100 words a minute and beyond. So get into the habit straight away of keeping your outlines close together, and drilling, as you would with special outlines, is a good way of doing it. So let me give you another example of a special outline. Rep, for representative. Just 2 outlines because the word in full would be so difficult to write. It would be very long. So special outlines then, adding an extra 5 minutes, or indeed that word might be the longest word in your news article. Right, so now we move on. Have we got more than 5 minutes? Well, I don't want to choose a story from today's news, because by the time you look at this video, even if it's only tomorrow, today's news is yesterday's news. But I would like to give you an example of when you can listen to the news and take down the salient points. So for example, recently we've done figures, and that has coincided with it being the time of the budget. And so I was hoping that some of you who are following through may have taken down the salient points of the budget using the figures that we've done. But I've just written a very simple little passage which includes a lot of word groupings. Not every single one of them is 5 letters long or less, but the vast majority of them are. So my first sentence has in it the grouping, I chop the wood, K for like, I would like. The next one, take this opportunity. I've changed the K to a C for speed, just an S for this, and then your special outline, OPR, for opportunity. Take this opportunity. We've not met that one before, so you may want to practice it before you take the dictation, which includes it. Then little things like invite you, where you go invite and just add the U on. It saves lifting the pen and putting it separately. And using Xmas for Christmas. It's a little bit quicker, but of course you would transcribe Christmas. In the sentence 2, we've got we have a. The word range, you can do rang for range because the sense of the sentence would tell you that it's range. The word crafts, that's testing your theory, isn't it? Because CR together, so the F goes inside TS. So it's not actually a grouping, but I'm just going to give it to you so that you won't hesitate when we come to do the dictation. They will not, so they will not. Great deal of money. So the T of great is also the D of deal. No need for the of, and just add the money on. There are. So there are. You could have done the long THR for there had you wanted to. As I say, there's always options. And then in this sentence, we've got 5 or 6. Now, this isn't uncommon in exams. So what I do is I do the figure 5, keep the pen on, R for or, and 6. So that would be 2 or 3, 1 or 2. I've done 2 or 3. 3 or 4, 5 or 6, 7 or 8, 9 or 10. So it's quicker than taking the pen off and writing the word or. And also because the digits are not standing alone, then you don't have to circle them. We've got I think next, just 2 I's like that. All the. We have had. The special outline difficulty, can I just remind you of that one? DFCI. Talented people, with the PL intersection for people. In fact, in act. More and more people, more and more people. As a result, as result. For example, for and cross it with the X, for example. I'm going back up to the top now. In our area. I would like to thank, we did I would like there, so I'm going to add another little outline. I would like Ank, for I would like to thank. No need for the to. The word towards, remember to chop the wood in wards. Which will be, and in the middle. So you may be thinking, is it really necessary to do all this? Would it really matter if I didn't put all the together? And the answer is no. But old habits die hard. So if you start by writing things separately, it's so much more difficult to start joining them together. So it's so important that you get to grips with doing that right from the very first time. The number of times that I've marked a paper that someone's written at 100 words a minute and they're getting just towards the end of the 2 minutes and then they miss, say, 7 words out. That's 7 errors. and in a 100-word-a-minute exam you're only allowed 9 errors. And my heart's in my mouth while I mark the rest to see if, hoping that they haven't got another 2 errors. And then I look at some of the outlines and I think, oh, if only you'd join this and you'd join that and you'd join that, you wouldn't have had to miss those 7 words. So it is crucial, it's really important. So now, if you just take some time out and practice some of those groupings, as I say, they are endless, so I could give you pages and pages and pages of them, and you will come across them in more and more of them in series 2 and series 3, which is all about speed development. So this is just a flavour of it really in this beginners series. So in total I've got 120 words, which will just be 2 minutes at 60. Take some time out first to practice those word groupings so that you can write them without hesitation, and then see how you do with 2 minutes at 60. So, ready? I would like to take this opportunity to invite you to our Christmas fair. We have a range of crafts for sale. They will not cost a great deal of money. There are many items which will cost £5 or £6. That is not a great deal of money. I think all the items are made by hand. We have had no difficulty in finding talented people. In fact, more and more people are volunteering. As a result, we have a wide variety of things for sale. For example, many ladies in our area have donated knitwear. I would like to thank everyone who has worked towards the fair, which will be held in the middle of the month. So transcribe that passage, 120 words in total. We'll put the longhand attached to the lesson so that you can check it afterwards, and then go through your outlines and ask yourself, have you used as many of the word groupings as you can? Of course, it's not crucial to do so, but if you've got a little gap, it may be as well to drill the word groupings again and see if you can close that gap the second time round. Right, after you've done that, what shall we do if we've got a full hour to spare? Well, I would suggest that before you move on to the next series, which is already in place, the speed development series, you practice by going over one of the beginners lessons again. It may be that you've already done that a few times, but it's always good to revisit the basics and make sure that you get them right. So of all these different ways to practice and incorporate that practice into your everyday routine, my favourite is definitely music. It's uplifting, it's fun, and you can choose your own tracks, the ones you enjoy the most. If they're too fast for you, you can challenge yourself to just take down the chorus, which often is repeated. But you could at this point in time choose something slow, because that might be appropriate to your pace at this moment. So something like Coldplay's Fix Me, and challenge yourself to get every single word down. Another way is to look at programmes like Planet Earth or any nature or wildlife programme on the TV, where there's a little bit of dialogue and then a pause while you're looking at the wildlife that is being televised. So that is another good way of just sitting idly, taking down a few notes and incorporating yet another 5 minutes into your daily routine. Now, as we are nearing the end of this beginners series, it seems the appropriate time to talk to you more about examinations. The National Council for the Training of Journalists hold regular examinations throughout the year. If you are on an accredited course with a university or with a college, you don't need to worry because your tutor will automatically enter you for these exams at a time when you are ready. They start at speeds from 60 words a minute up to 120 words per minute. Similarly, if you are working in the industry, then your employer will guide you regarding when to enter for the examinations, again through the NCTJ website. But we know that a number of our subscribers are independent learners, and you may wish to take an examination too. And you can do this independently by going onto the NCTJ website and booking yourself. NCTJ hold national examinations 3 times a year at 60 words per minute and 100 words per minute. Bookings generally open towards the beginning of May and close towards the end of May, and results are published at the beginning of July. Of course, dates and procedures may change as the time rolls on, but if you go onto the NCTJ website, you will be able to see the dates for this year, and you will be able to contact NCTJ and book yourself into one of those examinations. It may well be that you don't have to travel, that you can take it from home. But again, that may change, so I don't want to give you too much detail. Just know that you are able to enter and take an exam. And it's great, isn't it, to have a certificate for all this hard work that you have done. It would be great at the end of the beginners series for you to get a certificate for 60 words per minute. That is the hardest part of learning shorthand because you are on the bottom rung of the ladder, but the ladder, you can climb it really quickly. And our speed development series will help you to get from the 60 right up to the 120 words per minute. So at the end of this video, we're going to give you one NCTJ examination at 60 words per minute, just so that you can familiarise yourself with the format. There will be 2 minutes dictation, followed by a 30-second interval, followed by 2 minutes dictation, followed by a 30-second interval. And then for the 60 words a minute, you will have 25 minutes to transcribe. So we're working towards approximately 10 words per minute in transcription, because clearly we've got 240 words and we've got 25 minutes to transcribe. So a maximum of 10 words per minute, and then a minute just to read through to make sure that you haven't made any obvious errors, missing a word out that doesn't make sense, for example. When we get up to 80, the format is exactly the same, but of course we've got more words. We've got 320 words, and the time that's allowed to transcribe therefore goes up. It goes up from 25 minutes to 35 minutes, and so on. When we get up to 100, the format is a little bit different, and you'll find out more about that when you move on to the speed development series. So have a look at the NCTJ exam. Think about what word groupings you might use for it. Of course, you wouldn't be able to look at it beforehand in an exam situation. It would just be played to you for once only, and you would take down the notes in shorthand and then transcribe them in longhand in the allotted time. But have a look at the paper so that you get an idea of the type of material that NCTJ uses, and have a go at the 60 word a minute exam. In the next and final lesson of the beginners series, lesson 20, we will give you more examination practice at 60 and a few at 80 also. If the word examination has made you feel rather fearful, remember, don't get worried and don't get stressed. Let's love Teeline together.
Hi everybody, Rosalie here. Firstly, I just want to say thank you for all the views and the support we've had. The lessons, I think you'll agree with me, have been amazing, provided by Jo, and hopefully I'll be back on your screens very soon. So as promised, you're going to hear shortly a 60 words per minute exam. Now give it a go. Remember, the video is there for you to go back to at any time, and just make sure that you drill and practice the words and groups that come up. You get familiar with the vocab that's used. It's such a valuable resource. You will notice that the shorthand will remain on the screen whilst the exam is being dictated. Again, it's just there for support and for you to go back to and to utilise after. The examination passage contains 2 parts. Part 1, which is 2 minutes long, followed by a 30-second interval, and then part 2, which is also 2 minutes long. For this, you would have 25 minutes to transcribe, so do bear that in mind if you are typing up or writing out your notes. Best of luck. Ready? I know a lot of people will be pleased to learn that a low price supermarket is to be built on the edge of the town. The council has agreed to sell part of a sports field to the store. It is good news for shoppers looking for a bargain, but traders in the town centre have told the council they are worried that their businesses will suffer because of this decision. They point out that the high street has lost quite a few shops over the last 2 or 3 years. A shoe shop closed last summer, and the premises are still empty. Last year, a sports shop and a butcher moved out. Only charity shops are moving in. It would have been much better for the town if the council could have persuaded the new store to open in the town centre. Councillors have said they did offer a town centre site, but it was turned down. Of course, the supermarket will have free car parking, and that will draw shoppers away from the high street. The council has said it will think about making all of the town centre car parks free. But traders do not think that will be enough. They say the council needs to cut business rates in order to bring in new stores. Something will need to be done quite quickly because the new supermarket will open at the end of the year.